Hey guys, Jess here from Knockout Print Shop. Today I have for you my March 2020 Reflect and Goal Set video where I go over how the month went, if I achieved my goals, and how I'm setting goals for the upcoming month. Now in months past, I have been doing this as a kind of talking head face forward video, but for simplicity's sake today, we are doing camera to planner view today. I know that sometimes you guys have shared with me that you find it helpful to see the planner as I'm talking through things. And while I prefer to like kind of connect and show my face, I do understand that and know that it's helpful to see how I'm utilizing my planner to do all of my goal setting and not have to listen to a video that is like 45 minutes long so you can see my face and my planner. Okay, see, this is what happens. I'm already rambling. All right, so we got March 2020. We're gonna go through my goals, how I did, my process, and we'll go through April. So what I did at the beginning of March, obviously, was set my goals in my monthly goals section of my Makse Life horizontal planner. These goals are roughly based on the goals I set, my annual goals, over here in the front of this planner somewhere. I can never find this for some reason. So they're based on this, what is it, 4 page annual goal thing. So I definitely, as part of this process, I will kind of look back at the things I have written in each category here then go ahead and put some of those things down in a more broken down actionable step for my monthly goals. So as you can see, when you look at this at a first glance, there is definitely two areas that get the most attention. And this is pretty much a theme for me. It is work and financial. Everything else is kind of either A, automated, or B, just not on the priority list for me. It doesn't mean that area gets ignored, but it is definitely not something that I am putting a lot of effort towards. In some cases, that's reflected on my assessment of how I'm, my kind of life wheel situation, my life compass. And in some cases, it is what it is. It doesn't bother me. That area of my life is fine. Okay, so all to say, this was March's goal. So I'm just going to quickly go over the month goals with you. So in personal, this is an area that I don't necessarily struggle with it, but I don't have a lot of goals in that area. Now, when we look back at my life compass thingamabobber here to see what I rated that area, let's see, don't know why I just talked like that. Hold on, why am I having such an issue? Clearly, I'm not prepared for this video. Okay, so this is my ugly version. I did this again to make it a little better. So I gave myself basically a 9. So this is not an area that gets neglected, but there's not a lot of specific things I put towards it. And part of the reason this is the case is there's certain things in this goal area, in personal, that are contingent on Matt and I hitting the next phase of our life with getting a home, because a lot of the things I have in my annual goals, things like gardening, homesteading, stuff like that, really has to do with us having a house. Now, I do some of these things as much as I can here in our apartment. Like I do a lot of fermenting, sourdough baking. We make things from scratch. I do a little bit of patio gardening, so I can do some of it. But really, to get into this area of where I want to spend energy in the personal area of my life has to do with those things, and to have those things really kind of flourish or give them attention, I need to have a house. So those are like attended to in a very mild way. Some of the other things I had put at the beginning of the year, like practice French, I did that last year a little bit. I haven't really felt a desire to do that. Reduce screen time. That's something I'm still working on. I have found over the past month with this whole COVID thing, I'm on my phone more than I would like to admit. Facebook limits, that has gotten better, and I haven't really delved into this wanting to practice piano or anything like that. So this area, I don't feel bad. Like I don't feel unhappy. I don't feel like this area is unfulfilled. It just feels like it's just kind of in maintenance mode, if that makes sense. So for this month, all I put down here was buy shoes. I need to buy new gym shoes. Spoiler alert, that didn't happen the whole entire month. Okay, so there's that. You can see this again doesn't get much. Oh my God, there's food from my lunch on my hand. You guys, this is a hot mess goal setting video. Okay, fun and recreation. This is another area that doesn't get a ton of attention. And that, if you've watched my videos before, has a couple layers to it. So fun and recreation actually is one of my lower ranked areas. I gave it like a 5 or a 6. And that is because I tend to love working and I feel good working and being productive. I enjoy work. That is fun to me, creating, running my business, all that stuff. So sometimes the fun and recreation area takes a back seat. But again, it's one of those things where if you had to ask me, am I like unhappy with that area? Do I feel like this negatively impacts my life? Probably not. Could I use more fun and recreation in my life? Yes. I think, again, this has to do with these chapter Matt and I are in, living in an apartment. We don't like that, and it does hinder some of the things we want to do. Once we have a house, our mortgage will be cheaper, our rent, then it opens up some income to do more fun recreational things. Seasonally, we like to go camping and things like that. That will start to come up now as the weather warms up. Hiking, we still do that. That is definitely fun in our lives, and just different local things. Now with this COVID thing, fun and recreation is literally going outside and going for a walk. And we try to be creative and do stuff like we did a picnic the other day. So this area needs more attention, as you can tell, but it doesn't feel like it is completely depleted, I guess is my point. So for this month, I wanted to try making ice cream. So a lot of my fun and recreation has to do with making food. These kind of are tied together here. Okay, so let's keep it simple, keep rolling. Monthly goals, work and learning. You can see this is my heaviest section here. A lot of these things in March had to do with me getting prepared to launch my Jess Lewis website and kind of go and kind of start that my own personal brand there. So I had a dormant mailing list and email list through MailChimp that I needed to kind of go through and clear out and clean up. I did do that. So I'm using mini hexes to mark off tasks or goals, and these big arrows here and stuff were to mark like the main thing in each area. I wanted to start a new coaching group, so I have an online small group coaching program that I had planned to start their next 3-month phase on the 30th, but then COVID happened and everybody's gyms are closed, so that didn't happen. As far as the print shop goes, we did weekly releases in March, so that was a goal. We got that. I was going to promote my planner/goal coaching stuff. That didn't happen until April, and then launched the Pilot Fit Kit program. That did not happen in March, but we will talk more about that because an element of that kind of became a reality here as we go along. Okay, so that gets a lot of attention. My family and relationships area, this is not an area that doesn't get attention. Matt and I are together all the time. We do fun things together. We go on a lunch date every week, except for now with COVID, we don't go out to lunch on Saturdays. I'm still in the process of kind of figuring this out because, again, we've been so nomadic the past couple of years that it's been hard to kind of plant and start building a new social circle. So while I do connect with a few people, from a friendship standpoint, this area is lacking. It, again, isn't something that, feels negative in my life. I just know that we're in this weird holding pattern. Okay, so for health and wellness this month, I was initially going to make a dentist appointment. This has been a thing that's moved over for a few months as a goal and still hasn't happened. Did not happen in March. But we did finally commit to walking outdoors 3 times a week. And this actually got amped up mid-month through and was really happy with my progress there. Spirituality and personal growth, I always put read daily. That's just kind of where that area is for me, and it works. Financials, another big area. I kind of use this section as a monthly financial checklist in a way, because my big goal here is to save any extra income we have to put towards house purchasing costs, whether it's down payment, inspection, closing costs, all of that. So that's like the big goal within these tasks. So I have things like budget, pay bills, transfer money to the house savings, run my P&L, do my taxes, escrow my income quarterlies, do YNAB daily. So these things kind of, while they're semi-automated, I've found that I like to keep this as my month-end checklist to make sure all of those things get done. And then my big one obviously was to do our taxes for last year and transfer the extra funds to the savings. Physical environment for us, we have a pretty good cleaning routine. Again, we live in an apartment, so it's not like we don't put a lot of effort into making this all a long-term home because it's not going to be. So we just try to keep it clean and organized, we have a system for that and it works. And then we're just house hunting, so that continues. So 10 minutes later, this is March monthly goals. So you can kind of see where attention goes and how I think about that. So then we go into, you know what, guys, I just realized I didn't do my reflection. We'll go through this and then I'll do my reflection. Okay, so for most of the month, for half of the month, I did start actually using this section. I'll show you that in a second. So then we're breaking down these monthly goals into weekly action steps, and you'll see a lot of these just carry over the same every single week. Buy shoes, didn't happen, arrow. Did make ice cream, so that was accomplished. So I'll check that off, and then I go back over here, check it off in the month goal. Walk on Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. That happened there. Read daily. Had a few of the different broken down goals related to the bigger work goals here. Post in the Facebook group, release new releases, work on the fit kit. This guy got moved over, lunch date with Matt, some financial tasks and some home things, even stuff like make sure I vacuum, drop off the recycling, just kind of like a little hub for certain to-dos in these areas that I want to get done that week. So sometimes these are super goal related and sometimes they're simply like a dashboard of things I need to get done in one of the designated areas. So that was the week one. And then I did use, if you saw my flip back through March, I did use the notes section to write a highlight each week. And that did help me at the end of the month go through my reflection and see how I felt about the week. Okay, so walking to fulfill that goal, I did track a little bit here with our walks. Then we get into week 2 of March. I did not use this notes and reflection page. Here we have my checklist. Guess what? Didn't buy shoes still. Had to put this, I don't know why I put order dog food and poop bags in personal, but I did. It could have easily went in like household, I guess. Looked into camping. Again, if I should have realized when you want to go camping, you need to book this stuff way in advance because everything gets booked up, and then you had COVID, so no one's camping. Anyways, so that kind of put a damper on things. Work on Fit Kit, that got bumped over. I did send an intro email, so finally, for my Coach Jess Lewis brand, I cleared out that mailing list. That was done, and then I created an introductory email to kind of revive it and reconnect with my list. So I drafted and edited that week. That was a big accomplishment to kind of get closer to launching the Jess brand, and just to kind of show you the breakdown of that too. So in work, I think this is where it is, in the work annual section. This isn't, I did this whole worksheet in the vertical as well, and it's more laid out, but I did have in the vertical, in my other Makse, a section with all the stuff I wanted to do with kind of like the Jess stuff. So that was a big goal, was to relaunch JessLewis.com, which is JessMLewis.com. But anyways, okay, lunch date with Matt, that happened. I went to coffee with a friend. We got our 3 walks in again, so we were on a huge roll with getting that goal accomplished. Read daily, did my few financial tasks, and then maintain cleaning routine and house hunt. So a lot of this stuff is repeats every week. So again, keeping my highlights here so that I can remember each day something that stuck out, accomplishment, win, highlight. Obviously use my habit tracker. Okay, so then week 3, I did use the notes and reflections. I kind of listed what worked, what didn't work, and what I need to adjust. Just jotted a few things down as a reminder, mostly just to kind of reflect for a few minutes, see if there's anything I want to think about for the next week, and then have this as a way to look back at the month-end reflection. Personal, you could see here, nothing happened. I just put a question mark. I was done even putting shoes because clearly I wasn't going to buy shoes. We did go for a hike at a waterfall, so that happened. Some work-related tasks. I did send that intro email to my Jess Lewis email list, so that was a really big accomplishment for me. As far as the goal coaching email that was supposed to go to the Knockout Print Shop mailing list, I did not do that. So that got moved over. Lunch date did. We kept up with our walking, only missed 1 day of daily reading. On this particular week, I started to make on certain things notes so I would remember. So like I read daily. I gave myself an accomplishment because I only missed 1 day. So I was like, I did it. I'm not expecting 100%, but missing 1 day to me feels like I still did it. Couple financial tasks and a home task, highlights again, and habits. And then we get into, is this the last week or is there one more? This is considered the last week. Okay, so the last week of March, last full week of March, I laid this out a little different, so I wanted to show you that. So definitely have my notes and reflections here, what worked, what didn't work, what to adjust and continue, and some wins. So this again was really helpful to go, okay, where was I succeeding? Where was I struggling? And what adjustments do I need to make going into the next week? And that helped me kind of get clear on these action steps. And all these things tie in, the monthly goals, the action steps, the annual goals. So you can see here I did this a little different. I did write the category and highlight it with a mild liner for each of these areas. And for this particular week, what I did was, instead of using this as personal, I made this my like Coach Jess Lewis brand checklist. Because to me, that is kind of personal, because it's a different venture. It's work, but right now it's more of building this brand, and it is kind of a personal goal in a way that's not just work related. So I decided to designate that area for that. Looked into more camping, realized it was closed. We did do a picnic, and then this was the week we started our 10K steps a day, which was on March 25th. So we did that. This was my knockout print shop section, so that was more my work section. Got a few things done, had to bump over the fit kit thing and the planner goal coaching email, but most everything on this list got done. So that was really good. And again, you can see just writing a few little notes here and there so I would remember. But I did like using this section that tends to get neglected as my like Jess area, and kind of repurposing that versus making it like strictly personal. Same doodad here, and then we get into the reflection. And actually, because it's the end of March, the Makse Life Planner then has your quarterly compass kind of reassessment. So let's go over, let me talk a little bit about my monthly reflection and some aha moments, some things that I realized that I'd like to share with you guys. Okay, so my biggest wins for this month, as I kind of continually talked about as I flipped through here, is that I launched the jessmlewis.com website. I revived that mailing list and created a Coach Jess Tribe Facebook group. So this is something that I have been literally on the fence on doing for the past 2 years, since I closed my gym 2 years ago. I needed a break from fitness and coaching, and then there was always this part of me that always felt drawn back to it, because that is truly what I think is one of my skill sets and my strength, is to be a coach and be in that space. I didn't know how I wanted it to look. I still don't, but I thought, you know what, I got to put it out there. I talked to one of my colleagues, and he was like, Jess, you just have to start. And once you start, you can tweak your voice and your audience and kind of see where this leads, but you're never going to figure it out until you start. And I was like, well, that's advice I would give somebody else, so I'm going to do that. So that was a huge win. I think one thing I really learned on that is, again, take your own advice. But like I always tell my clients, is you need to take a step to start gaining momentum. I was trying so hard in my head to figure out, what do I want my voice to be like? What do I want my branding to be like? What do I want this to be like? And I'm like, you know what? I'm one person. I don't have a big audience. I don't know how I want to show up in this space yet, but I want to put it out there. And as I start to share content and things like that, it will evolve, and I can hone it and rein it in and give it its nuance and come up with a more targeted approach. But for now, I'm going to cast a bigger net and just put out what I put out there and see what happens. So if you're kind of hesitant to take steps on something, or you're feeling stuck in that like analyzing, figuring out, blah, 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 you want all the pieces just right, my biggest advice would be to take a significant step and put it out there, and then let the rest of it come together. Okay, number 2 was I created a training program. So kind of to piggyback on that, I had been working on the website and reviving the email list, and it literally all happened to coincide with the quarantine and the COVID stuff. And I thought to myself, what better time to re-engage with my former members and my audience than right now, when many people are at home, they're on their computers more, they're on social media. I can connect with them and share, content about health and fitness and wellness and life and finances and all that now when I have this captive audience. So in addition to that, I was also played around, and I offered a few Instagram live workouts in about 4 of them in the month of March. And then I was talking to the people that attended and different things, what people needed. And a few people said, I would really like a pre-written workout program. And I was like, well, this is a great idea. It's something I've been thinking about for 2 years. So I set and created a 4-week, 5-day-week strength and conditioning program that is suitable for every level, and somebody that has 0 equipment and somebody that has a fully equipped home gym. So I was like, okay, I'm going to finally do this. And the number one thing that helped me do this, was the timing. It just kind of fell into the right timing, and setting a deadline. I think what I've learned over the past couple of years with various projects and things is, without a deadline, it's easier to meander, do a little things here, do a little thing there. Oh, I'll get to it. Oh, it's slowly evolving, versus having a deadline. So when I decided to do this, I set a deadline that was completely unrealistic. I was like, I can get this done in 3 days. You cannot write a quality training program with videos and everything in 3 days. So I upped it to a week, put it on social media. Hey guys, in a week, I'm going to have this up, and I busted my ass and I got it done. I filmed 75 videos, demo videos. I had to do it twice because the first set of videos sucked. Wrote descriptions for them, wrote an ebook, wrote the program out, all different things. And I finally did it. So I would say another bit of advice I have discovered, and it's something like you always know, but then your brain's telling you, I don't know, out of fear, hesitation, whatever, that it just procrastinates. And it's like, get a deadline. If you have a deadline that you have to have something done, then you will be more compelled to do it. So long story short, I created a training program because I put a deadline in place. And I started my 10K steps a day challenge through the Jess Lewis site. And just again, to help everybody that's spending more time at home get moving. And sometimes just having a challenge and a group of people and a daily check-in can be so helpful. So I was pretty excited to host that and to successfully do it myself, because Matt and I, as I told you in previous videos, have been a bit lazy the past couple months and not getting as active as we usually were. So that was pretty good. So those are my wins, long-winded wins. Okay. Things that are currently working in my life. As you know, I like this question. I think it's really cool how it makes you think about not just what your wins were, but what processes and systems were working. My daily highlights, I think that was essential. As you can see down here, it's nothing but a couple of words, but it triggers me to think of something. Even if it was a shit day, like I had to dig for something that was good. So I like that. What's working is getting in a routine with the daily steps, the 10K steps, and then number 3, breaking down tasks and taking action. You know, when I decided to do the training log, I had this list of like just scribble all the things I needed to get done. Didn't need to have some pretty project planner. It was a piece of scrap paper, and just started checking them off. So break things down, and sometimes you have to get even more drilled down and nuanced than you think, so that you can just hone in on one little piece of the task, check it off, go to the next. Sometimes I think a problem we get into when we break down big projects into steps is we still make the steps too big, and there's too many parts to them. So every little piece needs to be its own part and its own step. So I think that's definitely something to think about if you're trying to break down a bigger project. Things that currently aren't working in my life. This isn't necessarily system related. I approached this one with like some challenges that are going on. Business is still slow. Obviously, COVID is impacting that. Stickers are not an essential purchase, of course, when people are losing jobs and having to be more frugal, and intentional with their spending, obviously. So we are seeing a little bit of a hit to our business. So that is a big challenge. We're still trying to keep up with what we do as far as like offering sales and new releases and things like that. But it is definitely a challenge and something that's not working so hot. We're having to work out at home, as almost every American I'm sure is that's not ideal. We don't love it, but we are grateful that we have gym equipment like our kettlebells, so we can still keep up with our strength and wellness, our strength and fitness program. And at the time I was writing this, I was also not sleeping as well and not consistent with bedtimes. This has gotten a little better, but I've noticed lately, when I find a show that I like, it's like the death of my bedtime routine. So we've been watching Homeland, and I really like that show. So it's like always keeps you in suspense. So I've not been as consistent with my 10:30 p.m. bedtime. So I'm not liking that too much. So I need to I tried telling Alexa to remind me every day at 10 p.m. to get ready for bed. Sometimes I ignore her. So I need to really commit to that. That's just like a mental thing of I need to commit to it and reconnect to the importance of that. What I learned this month. Number 1, yet again, baby steps work. At the end of the day, guys, baby steps is the key to changing anything or creating anything, achieving anything. Things don't always happen as fast as we'd like them to, but baby steps makes things sustainable and more achievable. So if you find you keep hitting your head up against the wall with things that you've said you want to do, I really challenge you to see how far you can scale things back to make the steps even smaller so that you can start to build that momentum, that commitment, that routine, and move forward on your goals that, maybe you were just setting things that were just too unrealistic to your lifestyle, your whatever. So just baby steps work. Number 2, make a decision and see where it goes. So that's kind of like what I was talking about with the Jess M. Lewis site. is sometimes you gotta like shit or get off the pot. And I think I was just sitting there in this like, I hate this phrase, but like analysis paralysis phase, and just in limbo. And, you know, reaching out to my friend and talking to him, my fitness colleague, about it, and just kind of bouncing ideas off of each other. And he was just like, Jesse, you have to, there's no way you're ever going to know if you want to do this thing if you don't do it. So I think making a decision allows you, that's your first baby step, is making the decision, right? Like you have to make the decision before you can know the answers. So that's huge. Number 3, speak to my audience in my voice. This is still a work in progress. It's something I'm learning, but this is something I've always struggled with. I kind of need to find my voice for the Jess M. Lewis brand of things. Knockout Print Shop, I kind of know, you guys know me, you kind of know the way I approach stickers and planning and things like that. But when it comes to my coaching side of things, I just need to figure out how I want that to look and sound and feel. So I think it's important to speak to the audience, my audience, in my voice, and not look at other people doing similar things and think I need to approach it the same way. Number 4, in relation to that, is starting to figure out who my audience is. So that's something I think is just going to happen over time. As long as I'm being genuine and speaking and sharing things in a way that's authentic to me, I think I will begin to attract the people that want to hear that message. Okay, what are we on? What improvements or adjustments do I need to make going into April? So 1, consistent bedtime, talked about that. 2, daily Coach Jess project tasks. So I'll show you how this maps out for April so that makes sense. And number 3, connect with fellow coaches. So I'm really finding that I got to get rid of that like living on an island thing. This is something as a self-employed person I've struggled with for many, many years. And when you are running a solo business, it's very hard to not fall into the trap of just kind of like being isolated. And I realize every time I reach out and connect with fellow coaches, fitness professionals, wellness professionals, anybody in the entrepreneurial area, even if it has nothing to do with health, it does really help me feel part of a community and more inspired to take action. So that's definitely something I want to work on for April. I'm grateful for still making sales daily. So even though March was a hard month when it comes to the Knockout Print Shop's revenue, I still am very grateful for every customer and the fact that we did have some size of a sale every single day. So that always feels good. Habits I want to nurture for April are walking, continuing with my 10K a day, and my 10:30 bedtime. And then I gave March an 8. February got a 6. So hey, that is a big improvement. Even in the midst of COVID, it kind of, I don't know, maybe it just gave me the timing to kind of make some decisions on things and propel some of these other annual bigger goals forward. And I think I had a good attitude and felt pretty productive. So I gave it an 8. Okay, so this is what happens when I talk too long. I didn't realize that my camera stopped recording. So I am going to probably, I'm going to repeat this, I think, one more time because I think this got cut off. So quarterly assessment, subjective ratings on each of these areas versus the questionnaire like she has in the beginning. So you're not doing this full assessment. You're just going, okay, each of these areas, 1 to 10, 10 being the highest, where do you rank yourself? So I ranked myself in each one and then wrote down my score based on the assessment at the beginning of the year. So personal went up 1 notch. And I think, again, that is because of me launching the Jess M. Lewis site and feeling this sense of purpose around that. So that felt good. Fun and recreation went up 1 point, I think, because again, the weather's changing. We've gotten outside more and I just need to be in nature. I need to be outside. I need to be taking walks. It definitely is fun. That's where my fun and recreation is. Work went up. And again, I think in the same token as personal, it has to do with starting to launch that coaching, Jess M. Lewis, wherever it ends up going thing. That's definitely helping me feel more intentional or meaningful in my work. Those relationships, health and wellness, spiritual stayed the same. Financial actually went up a point, which seems odd because this first quarter was kind of difficult for us. And obviously then you have this whole quarantine COVID thing. Sales haven't been great. Stock market's taking a crap. So in all, I mean, it should be less, but I just for some reason feel like we've done what we need to do to be as okay as we can be when situations like this arise. So there's a sense of piece. Now, maybe that's foolish, or maybe this will change, but at this point, I feel like a little more bit of stability there, even in a very unstable environment. I don't know why. I can't really explain what that's about. So all my scores increased. What I think contributed to these results is making adjustments when needed, deadlines, and making decisions. So no matter what you're trying to do, whether it's a big goal, small goal, simply improve some area of your life, remember, I feel like what contributed here for my increase in ratings is making these micro adjustments, figuring out week over week what is and isn't working, tweaking things, making it work for me. I think without that, those little nuanced adjustments and reflecting and going back and forth, I think it's very easy to just have time pass and not see any progress. 3 words to describe how you generally felt over the past 90 days. I would say focused, positive, and stressed. In the midst of all the not so hot 90 days, I did feel pretty focused on certain things. We're focused on getting a house, focused on saving for the house, focused on finding ways to grow the business, focused on the Jess Lewis stuff, and positive, even in the midst of these hard things. And stressed, I mean, yeah, it sucks to be stressed, and we've had a stressful quarter, but I think sometimes in the midst of stress, we can find answers and we can uncover what's in our way and realize we can, overcome. So I don't know. I have been stressed, but I don't know if that's bad. What were my biggest opportunities for growth? I would say, in what areas of my life will I focus on the next 90 days? I think personal/work with the Coach Jess stuff is where I'm going to put more energy now that I've launched it. And as I begin to, in quarter 2, figure out what I want that to look like, how I want to share content, just figuring out all of those things. I think that's going to be a focus. And then buying a house. Those are 2 main goals and 2 main areas that I need to focus on. So what is that going to look like for April? This video is not any shorter than when I do this to you, talking to you, but at least you can see it. Okay, so clearly, I just realized I didn't do this how I thought I did it, but personal, this should have been my Coach Jess area, my Jess brand, and I did not do that. I put in fun and recreation, hike once per week. Again, to keep that fun, I need to be out in nature. Here in work and learning, I have a knockout print shop and a Jess kind of have to that. Different little daily tasks on social media and weekly tasks with email that I'm going to get going. Launched the at-home program. These things are going to help me propel that focus on that part of the brand. And then releases and product, content and all that will be on the knockout print shop side. So I thought I had put this up here, but I clearly didn't. Relationships, still the lunch date weekly with Matt. What I need to add to here too is maybe once a week connect with a colleague, because I think that needs to be important and go there. So I need to remember to put that on there. Fitness is 10 steps a day. The other thing I need to put on here is my unplugged Sundays. I've been doing that for the past 2 weeks where I do not go on social media all day. Read daily is the same as it is every single month. I have my usual financial tasks down here, and then our house hunt continues and maintain a clean home. So there's a few things I need to add on here. So this was week 1. I don't want to go through this quite yet, but let me show you one thing that I did do, because this will be for next month. So I did here, looks like here for April, I did have that. Okay, so really quick, what I want to show you how I'm gonna, this on week 2 of April, I did approach my planner spread a little bit different to execute these goals and action steps, which was to divide half of the column or half of each section for the Jess Lewis brand and half for Knockout Print Shop. So that's how it's going to help me really make sure I give attention to both businesses and get those tasks kind of more categorized versus just having a running to-do list. Okay, this video is like super long, guys. I was literally thinking by doing it like this, it was gonna be way less talking. I was wrong. Okay, so I hope that was helpful. At the end of the day, whether you're using an Inkwell Press or a Makse Life Planner, I highly recommend doing a month-end reflection, giving yourself some time to think about every quarter where each area of your life is and what you need to do, what micro adjustments you need to make. If you struggle with this piece, and this is something you're looking to do, improve an area of your life, reach a goal, big or small, make some kind of change, and you feel like you're not good at breaking your goals down, uncovering what your goal really is, how to word it in a way that gives you, orients you and gives you realistic action steps, definitely let me know, because that is what I do with goal coaching, is I will meet with you on Skype or Zoom or whatever, and we'll talk about all this stuff and help you start to really comb through it all and figure out what goals are truly important and how to make those actionable and break them down into small, realistic action steps. So I do have a few clients right now that I've been doing that with, and they're finding that it is helpful to have a sounding board and someone to help break those down, and then weekly accountability emails so that they can make sure they're staying on track. So if that's something that you need help with, please let me know. You can get that information at knockoutprintshop.com, or just shoot us an email at hello@knockoutprintshop.com. But at the end of the day, I hope you guys found this helpful. Sorry it was so long. Let me know if you prefer to see the planner or my face. And that's it. I hope you guys are doing well and hanging in there in the midst of all this craziness with the quarantine, and just know that there is an end, and we'll get there. So hope you guys are doing well, and I'll see you in the next video.